If you think, I want to get lean because that is what ultimate health and fitness looks like, I've got a secret to tell you. If you think, I bet those people with six-pack abs are stronger, faster, and can endure more than anyone else, you have to hear the secret. And if you think, once you've got ripped abs, you've got it all. Confidence, energy, you can do anything. You're going to be surprised by what I'm about to tell you. Let's start with the first misconception. Being lean is what ultimate health and fitness looks like.
I didn't have period for 4 years.
This is Maria, an ex-bodybuilder from Croatia who after 8 years of six-pack abs quit bodybuilding altogether.
I didn't have period for 4 years. So, by the way, I just want to educate also people, when you don't have period because you restrict yourself, you can also, like your hair starts to fall out.
How can this be? We frequently use health and fitness synonymously, but they're two different things. Fitness is about your ability to perform a given physical task, while health is about not only being free of illness, but your physical, physiological, and psychological well-being working in harmony. So you can be fit but not healthy, as was the case with Maria and is the case with many bodybuilders and athletes. And you can be healthy but not fit, as happens with many desk-bound workers who take care of themselves nutritionally but don't exercise. So if you were to chart health across different body fat percentages by age, this is what it would look like. Mapping this to body photos, here's what it roughly looks like. I say roughly because of 3 reasons. 1, age is not reflected here. For example, a 50-year-old woman at 20% body fat will look different than the one here. 2nd, genetics. For example, typically a 20 to 22% body fat woman's stomach looks like this, but some women's may look closer to this thanks to their genetics. And 3rd, what you're training your body for also impacts how your body looks like at these body fat percentages. For example, here's sumo wrestler Biamba, who weighed 350 pounds but had only 15% body fat. I'm going to cover more later how training affects your body's aesthetic, but for now, do you see how this belief that the leaner you get, the healthier you are is wrong? Your body needs a certain amount of fat to function, and as with most things in life, moderation is key. This is also why most athletes, bodybuilders, and celebrities operate in on and off seasons. What this means is they get down to this level for the gig, sporting event, photo shoot, movie, etc. But after it's done, jump back up to a healthier level. Because honestly, it's hard to stay this lean and feel good energy and mental clarity day to day. Not to mention, it requires a lot of sacrifice. Here's Zac Efron telling us about it.
I don't ever want to be in that good a shape again. Really. It was so hard. You're working with almost no wiggle room, right? You've got things like water under your skin that you're worrying about.
We'll jump more into the lifestyle trade-offs at each body fat percentage range later in this video. But for now, hopefully the myth that the leaner you are, the more healthy and fit you are is busted. Now, moving on to the second misconception of people with six-packs are stronger, faster, and can endure more than anyone else. I showed earlier a sumo wrestler with 15% body fat and yet looks like this. This is a great example of how you train your body affects how your body looks. Now, most of us aren't trying to be sumo wrestlers, so let me show more mainstream examples. These are how different bodies for women can look like depending on what you have trained it for. Remember, age, genetics, and degree of training caveats apply whenever you see body photos like this. On the leftmost side is general fitness, which means if you follow the typical guidelines of balanced, well-portioned meals, nearly daily moderate movement, and twice a week strength exercises, you can achieve this look. Now, if you so desire, you can optimize specifically for a goal, whether it be aesthetics, performance, or strength. You can see that Alex Morgan, who is on the US women's soccer team, looks fit, but her abs still protrude a little when compared to the woman who has optimized purely for aesthetics. And if you see the woman who is a power lifter, she has more bulk overall because it's easier to move a heavy load when you yourself have a good amount of body mass to put behind pushing said heavy load. The only person with really clearly defined abs is the woman who has optimized for aesthetics. And yet all 4 of these women are fit for what they want their body to do. And you can see the same range in how men's bodies look. The guy with six-pack abs isn't going to beat Michael Phelps at sports performance, and Michael Phelps is unlikely to beat the guy who has trained specifically for powerlifting, aka maximal strength. So just because someone has six-pack abs doesn't mean they are stronger, faster, and have high performance or endurance, because bodies for those goals look different. I hope this 1 broadens your perspective on what a healthy and fit body can look like, and 2 makes you zoom out and look at the big picture. What is the goal for your body? And remember that your body goals don't exist in a vacuum. They must align with your ideal life. What is that life for you? Now let's move on to the last misconception I listed at the start of this video. Once you've got ripped abs, you've got it all. Confidence, energy, you can do anything.
My trainer she would think that something is wrong with me, that I started to eat. So she would ask me, what is happening with you? We've been dieting for 3 months. Why are you eating? You have to stop from tomorrow. And even though she was telling me to stop, I was not able to stop. Like 7-8 years I'm dieting. I just couldn't stop. So I would eat for 3 months obsessively. Like I was at work and I couldn't work. I had to go out and buy more food to eat. I declined opportunities for going out because of my dieting. I would just make myself like, I don't want to go. Like just talk to myself like I don't want to go. And at the end, it didn't give me any happiness. I was never happy. So I wanted to have a balance in life. I just couldn't see myself just being obsessed with my body. I got older. I want to have some other things in life, like a meaningful relationship or like a business success. And if I'm hungry, I can't think. You can't think if you think straight, like you just can't. You think about food. That's the problem.
Now, Maria was in the unhealthy six-pack abs range, and her story illustrates how the narrative of once you have ripped abs, you can do anything is false. If we zoom out to look at effort versus body fat percentage stage, it looks like the following if you're losing fat sustainably and correctly. In terms of lifestyle trade-offs, you need to make fairly few nutrition and exercise changes at higher body fat percentage ranges to lose fat. But as you keep reducing body fat, the number of nutrition and exercise habits you need to replace increases until you reach Maria's point of maximum difficulty, where you may be sacrificing eating out and socializing. Now, when it comes to psychological effort, the graph goes in the opposite direction until you reach the unhealthy range like Maria, where it shoots up again. This is because in the unhealthy range, your body is freaking out and pumping your hunger hormones, so you constantly think of food and sabotage your plan. Now, for the graph before the low body fat unhealthy range, let me give a concrete example from my Badass Body Boss program. For privacy reasons, I'll call this student Clara. At 38% body fat, simply portioning to eat 3/4 of what Clara would normally eat would have been enough to cause good progress. No exercise needed, no macros or carbs or fasting needed. So from a lifestyle effort point of view, Clara literally only needed to make one small change, a relatively low lifestyle effort. But from a psychological effort point of view, this was a massive change for her. Her main barriers were 1, food FOMO. While the first few weeks she could ride the high of starting something new, after a while she'd feel like she was missing out on eating enough delicious food and be unable to stop at 3/4 of her meal. And second, whenever she got to her first weight milestone, she'd self-sabotage by quitting all the habits that got her to that milestone. Overcoming each of these barriers required a massive amount of self-reflection and experimentation. So unlike the lifestyle trade-off being low at 38% body fat, the psychological effort was very high. But then as we worked together to reprogram her beliefs and relationship with food over many months to a year, she replaced her self-sabotaging beliefs with healthier ones, so that by the time she got down to 28% body fat, she had enough practice and evidence of how her new mindset served her better, such that her psychological effort had reduced. On the other hand, to continue reducing fat, she needed to make more nutritional and exercises changes than when she was at 38% body fat, so lifestyle effort had increased. Okay, so finally, what does this say about the time it takes to get through the body fat percentage stages? If you have no psychological barriers, then time follows the lifestyle effort graph. But if you have psychological barriers, then it depends on how long it takes you to address each barrier and move forward. And be careful. If you blast through the body fat percentage stages without taking care of your psychological barriers, then you will end up regaining all the weight you lost and be back where you started. Because the lifestyle and psychological costs are significant, it's imperative to circle back and answer, what is your ideal life? Because you don't want to make sacrifices getting to the wrong goal. Beware that if you're answering the question well, the compellingness of what you put down can be difficult to handle. For example, here's a post from one of our Badass Body Boss students who had to stop mid-reflection because of the overwhelming sense of sadness and grief she felt for a version of her that she felt is unachievable. And here's a response to that post from another student who had felt the same grief but now is on the other end of the tunnel. After many months of mindset shifts, she completely believes that she will get there. If you want coaching from me to help you figure out your ideal life and how to sustainably traverse this graph to your goal body fat percentage, then check out the free sneak peek into my Badass Body Boss program in the description below. And if you want to self-diagnose where your psychological barriers may lie, check out this video. And as always, remember, you can do it.